So we are going to work with self-massage this evening. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this is because it's grounding. And even though this is Kapha time of year, the fact that we're spending so much time online, that is a lot of Vata energy. And then just the big changes in the world, that's a lot of Pitta or fiery energy. So these kind of grounding practices are still really important. And self-massage also, we're just not getting as much touch as we usually do. So not doing hugging or just being around people, even incidental touching. So we're going to nurture ourselves with massage. And you're welcome to do this either seated or lying down. So go ahead and make yourself comfortable. And we're going to start with the eyes. So the first thing you'll do is rub your hands together so that you build some heat in the palms of your hands. And when you feel that your hands heat up, then you can place your, like the circumference of your palms over the sockets of your eyes. And you can even let your head tip forward so that it's like you're supporting your head in your hands. And eventually you'll feel that heat dissipates. You might, sometimes I do have Reiki attunement, so my hands tend to heat up. So that might happen for you too. Sometimes that kind of healing energy gets turned on and your hands heat up. But if they cool off, then go ahead and rub them again and place your hands or your palms over your eye sockets. And we'll just do that one more time. Letting the warmth from the palms of your hands soak into all those little muscles around the eyes. Another thing that's really helpful here is to actually see into the darkness. And then the next stage we'll go to is kind of like a shampoo massage of your scalp. So rubbing your fingers across your scalp. Kind of a nice amount of pressure, maybe little circular movements. Trying to cover the whole surface of the scalp. So taking several passes to run your fingers, or kind of circle the fingers again with that good bit of pressure. Behind the ears, crown of the head, over the ears, right at the edges of the forehead. And then next, go ahead and unroll your ears. So it's like you're kind of uncurling those outer edges of your ears, and maybe even going in and rubbing your, kind of pressing your fingers through those grooves or those canals in that outer structure of the ear. And then run your fingers across, like starting at the middle of your forehead. And this may be a little bit lighter pressure here, like you're kind of smoothing out your forehead. And sometimes what I like to do is kind of pinch my eyebrows between my pinky and ring finger. So that place between the eyebrows can be kind of a stubborn tension spot. So kind of paying a little extra attention to pulling that area wide. And then coming out to the temples and a little circular massage out at the temples. And then next, like a little pinch between thumb and index finger, starting at your chin and then going along the jawline. Maybe doing that more than once. And then reaching around, taking your fingertips at the base of your skull. And then again, pretty solid pressure here, wrapping around to the base of your throat and taking that a couple of times. So from base of skull down this kind of out, this muscle along the outer neck, that sternocleidomastoid muscle often gets tight, and we're following somewhat the line of that muscle. And then go ahead and run up the front of your throat. So just taking your fingers up from the collarbones, up the front of the throat a few times. And then taking your right elbow in your left hand and reaching across to your left shoulder and just kind of squeezing along from the base of the neck out through the edge of the shoulder. So this is following the line of that upper trapezius muscle that just tends to be a hard worker. It doesn't like to, or it has a habit of not turning off. So I like to just do a kind of squeeze, like grab it and squeeze it and then slowly release, but you could do a kind of a rub too. So see what feels good to you. And then of course, taking left elbow in right hand and reaching across to that right shoulder, same thing, kind of squeezing or rubbing. You can do little circles if you wish. For me, it always feels good, like if I kind of grab it and then slowly release it away. Like I pull my fingers away and just let my fingers kind of run across the fibers of the muscle. And then shifting to your arm. So starting at the top of the arm and just kind of like a little twist, either arm you wish. So kind of a twisting from the shoulder down to the wrist, and do that maybe 2 or 3 times. So loose enough grip, and you're just going from top to bottom. The last time you do it, spend a little extra time around the joint, so around the elbow, spending a little extra time there, and then a little extra time around the wrist. And now coming to the hand, so grabbing the thumb and just gently kind of squeezing. I like to do a tiny little twisting movement, but it's more like I'm twisting my hand around my finger, not so much that I'm twisting my thumb. So kind of a little twisting of my hand as I pull. It's a firm prep pull, but not like I'm trying to pull it out of the socket. And then going to the index finger and middle finger. So taking your time, giving each finger a little attention. And then massaging the palm of the hand. So you can use the thumb of the opposite hand. You could also get your elbow in there to dig in if that feels good, or the heel of the other hand. So especially if your thumb gets sore, using other parts to find that pressure for the palm of the hand. And then you might even just kind of check in before you take the other arm and notice how that arm you just worked with. Does that arm and hand feel maybe a little more awake? Maybe there's just a little more awareness of that side. Maybe there's some kind of tingling sensation, or just kind of the reverberations of that touch And then of course we'll do second arm. So that kind of twisting down along the arm, taking that 2 or 3 times. And the last time that you go, make sure you spend a little extra time around the elbow, a little extra time around the wrists. And then getting to those fingers and a little stretch. And again, it's more like I'm trying to spin my hand around on my thumb, just like I did going down the arm, and not so much that I'm trying to twist that finger so much, but a little turning, a little pulling. And then massaging the palm of the hand with opposite thumb or the heel or fist of your hand. And it might feel better to put your hand down and then massage. And then we'll come to the chest. So bringing your fingertips to the outer edges, like right at the shoulder, and this kind of really firm press in towards the sternum. Taking a couple of passes like that. And then in the abdomen, go in the opposite direction. So starting at the middle and opening your fingers out to the sides. And then if you're lying on your back, you won't do this part, but if you're sitting up, you can take your fingers to your spine and then spread your hands away from each other. But if you're lying down, let yourself stay at ease. Maybe you can do another pass across your chest or your abdomen. And then we'll move down to the legs. So starting at your upper leg, that's kind of one hand on the top and one hand on the bottom, rubbing from the hip down to the knee, and then a little circular movement around the knee. I have to take my slippers off, and then going from the knee down to the ankle. Again, just kind of surrounding with your one hand on one side, the other on the other side. And then rubbing around that ankle bone a little bit. Maybe a little dig in on either side of the Achilles, and just kind of little circles around the ankle. And then if it works for you to set that foot on the opposite leg, you can do that. This will be a little tricky lying down. So just trying to see if you can do it in a way that doesn't disturb your ease. So what you might do is bend your other leg and have your foot flat on your bed or floor, and then use your opposite hand to kind of rub the sole of that foot. Here too, you could use your fist. Again, if you watch this later and want to do it sitting up, you could dig your elbow in. And then that kind of squeeze and stretch of the toes. Now with the toes, instead of a twist, I like to do kind of a little shake. So big toe, second toe, third toe. So toe by toe, a little kind of squeeze and stretch. And feel free to do that more than once. And then again, before we go to second side, if you're lying down, you might just stretch out both legs and notice if the leg that you just massaged feels any different from your other leg. It could be fairly dramatic. It might be fairly subtle. It might even be imperceptible, but just taking notice. And then of course we'll do the other leg. So running your hands along your leg from hip to knee. One hand on top, one on the bottom, one on inside, one on outside. And then spending a little time, little circles around your knee, front and back of the knee. And then from knee to ankle, same thing, just one direction from knees down a few times. And then giving a little attention to the ankle, circling around those ankle bones and maybe a little squeezing or deeper pressing into either side of that Achilles. And again, sorry, I keep forgetting about those, about giving lying down instructions. So upper leg could be like this, lower leg like this, and then foot, having the other knee bent, foot flat on the surface, and then you can place the leg that you're working on, that ankle, on the opposite knee, and then start to massage this foot, sole of the foot. So you could use your fingers, your thumbs, your fist, get in there with your knuckles or your elbow. And then finally giving those toes a bit of attention. So this kind of squeeze and shake a little bit, toe by toe, from big toe to little toe. And feel free to do that more than one time. Give the toes, we don't tend to give our feet a lot of attention, so giving a little extra love to your feet. And then coming to a symmetrical position, so maybe stretching both legs out, but letting yourself be comfortable. So whether you're seated or lying down, getting comfortable, close your eyes. And just take notice of how you feel. You might send yourself some loving kindness messages like, I'm worthy of touch. I care for myself. I do my best to take good care of this body. Good night, my friends.